would like to invite Mr. Mark Wallace, Director of Renegade Exploration, Australian-based minerals exploration and development company. Renegade Exploration Limited is focusing on its flagship Yandal East Gold Project and Yukon Base Metal Project. Mark Wallace has an extensive experience of over 2 decades working with major as well as boutique investment banks specializing in the global materials and energy sectors. He has global experience in roles like identifying, advising, and financing early stage and pre-development mining and energy companies. As a member of the leadership team, Mr. Wallace has played instrumental role in the development of Renegade on various fronts and is engaged in discovery, acquisition, and development of economic mineral deposits. We are glad to have you with us today, Mr. Wallace. Please go ahead with your presentation. The stage is all yours.
No, thank you. So Renegade Exploration, the board has been together here for 3 years at Renegade Exploration. My chairman, Rob Kirtland, his background is accounting and finance. He's worked at some of the major investment banks around Sydney and New York and around the world. He's been involved in the mining industry globally for about 25 years, experience specifically in North America and in Africa. And more recently, he has brought a company to market, $10 million company to market, and through its time frame of growth over a 4-year period, moved it on to be taken out late last year for about $100 million. And he's got a lot of experience in the marketplace. Our technical director is Peter Volgaris, who's on the board. He's had 20 years experience in international mine operations. He's an Australian based in Vancouver, Canada. He's international mine operations, project management and development experience. He's worked around for Mount Isa Mines at the Hilton and George Fisher led zinc silver mine, for Placid Dome's Osborne copper gold mine and Granny Smith in WA, more closer to home. He's also worked with Rio as a technical services manager at the Oyu Tolgoi copper mine and as expansion study manager for MMG at Sepon in the copper gold mine in Laos. Just moving along, standard disclaimer. So 2020 has been a big year for Renegade. When we inherited Renegade, we had a fantastic lead zinc base metal project in the Yukon in Canada. Very quickly, we worked for Robert, myself, and Peter's expertise to take that project forward. Probably was based more in the North American marketplace and required the North American capital to take that forward. So on that basis, and I'll come to that sort of with the rationalisation of our portfolio later on, we work to add some Australian-based projects, our preference being world-class jurisdictions, Australia being one of them, and Western Australia and Queensland being our focus. We added the Yandal East project 2 years ago, and more recently, we're now working with a Tier 1 partner in Glencore in Queensland and the Carpentaria joint venture. Prefer world-class jurisdictions, well understood geology, camp scale approach, and we're continually looking at more projects as well. But for the foreseeable future, both of these will take up most of our time. 2020 was a year of consolidation, so predominantly a gold and nickel focus, mostly gold focus in the Yandal East. Nickel is a more recent addition and focus, and I'll come to that shortly. We've advancing the gold prospectivity at Ward and Cows specifically for the gold opportunities, and we're adding the more modern techniques, including drone magnetic surveys, ground EM, to support us in our targeting. Rationalise existing portfolio with the Yukon sale we announced late last year. And for 2021, especially the next 4 to 6 months, very active and very busy with further surface work for our nickel prospects and gold, and then working with Glencore to take the Carpentaria joint venture forward. Next slide positions us nicely in the Yandal East. We're approximately 25 k's to the east of Northern Star's Jundee mine, a significant producer in the region. We have over 300 kilometres of ground there on what we call the eastern limb of the Yandal belt. It's again a favourable mining jurisdiction, and we think it's fantastic. 60 kilometres of strike of opportunities here. Historic drilling here has been focused probably on the more shallow opportunities of air core drilling. There hasn't been significant work done at depth. There is a lot of regolith and masks the bedrock geology here, and very little outcropping, which is something that you normally see throughout the West Australian goldfields. So that cover has limited the effectiveness of traditional methods of targeting, soil sampling, and so on. And so what we're now adding is more modern techniques in conjunction with the historical drilling to assist us with targeting for both the gold and the nickel going forward. This is a really good example of the complexity of the geology, which we really love because that usually adds opportunity. Warden Cowser prospects alone, this is probably in the northern part of our ground entitlement holding. Large gaps in the drilling historically. You've got some really good idea there from 12 metres at 9.8 grams at Cowser, from 28 metres, and then Ward has shown some significant opportunity as well. There's a lot of lined drilling here. It's really exciting. What we like to say is there's a lot of smoke here. Now we need to locate the fire in this kitchen. It's exciting times ahead. We'll be using our more modern techniques to help us with our targeting to really refine the strategy and executing the drilling program going forward. Introducing the nickel opportunity. The Yandal belt is just an extension of the prolific Leinster-Wiluna greenstone belt to the southeast that hosts BHP's Mount Keith nickel sulfide deposit. Up where we are, there hasn't been very much work done for nickel. BHP, Falcon Bridge from Canada, and some dating back to the 80s and 90s did some initial work. Size and scale, I think, at the time didn't really prove interesting enough for the majors, and they've since moved on. What we've managed to do is utilising historical drilling. There's been over 100 kilometres of drilling here in the region over the last sort of 40 years, adding more modern techniques. So the drone mag survey, which we completed in late December. There's the two main prospects that come from that, being Riches in the north and the Baxter Andrews in the south. We're going to be completing a ground EM survey, hopefully around mid-February. That will take approximately 2 weeks to complete, and then follow another couple of weeks for interpretation. And then using that in conjunction with the drone mag survey and our gravity work we did late last year will give us some really good targets to hopefully go drilling around the March-April timeframe. That's probably the most, the ground EM will be really important to support the drone mag survey to get us down to the depth of the plus 300 metres to have a look down there to see where we think the opportunities will be. Following on, this is probably more for the more technical minded people on the call. So this is a highlighting the structural setting. This is the gravity survey, historical survey, gives you an idea of the positioning. Mostly this is Rich is showing here. The next slide is probably the one that we like to highlight the most. So this is the work we've done with the drone mag survey completed late last year. Really highlights and the opportunities we think we've got here. Using the RC and air core drill hole results historically, that's sort of giving us a good indication of sort of nickel in and around the drilling historically. Mostly only Riches has been surveyed for the nickel. Baxter and Andrews, the opportunity in the southern part, has had some line spacing of drilling. You can see the blue lines here. They have never been assayed for nickel, and we see really interesting opportunity there. For Riches specifically, the highest grade intersections and the potential nickel targets is likely to be a magnetic ore. The signature of the magnetic ultramafic can be seen in existing magnetic surveys, but it's poorly defined. So the new mag has provided better resolution, and combined with the upcoming ground EM will really help facilitate the targeted drilling, especially at depth. Baxter on the right-hand side of the screen, the ultramafic's been mapped to surface and an outcrop. Historical air core drilling didn't assay for any nickel whatsoever. Clearly some large magnetic features present here, and we think the opportunities here probably are similar to Riches. We completed a recent field program here at Baxter Andrews in the first week of January. We picked up over 100 samples, and they're in the labs right now. We hope to have them back in the next week or two. They were a mixture of the outcropping ultramafic unit as well as some of the drilling spoils from historical drilling. And we'd like to think that they'll probably really help us target some great opportunities here. I would note that our boundary here is on the western side is the granite. That's where Northern Star have their Ramone deposit, their gold deposit. and they have been, they have an interesting deposit here called Marvin that they're also targeting. So Northern Star are prolific explorers regionally. They're in the granite mostly up to our western boundary, and clearly they like the complexity of the area, and they're giving it a good go as well. I guess rolling into and cognizant of time, so there's some great gold and nickel opportunities for us in the Yandal East, and adding in the Carpentaria joint venture is adding in another great state of Australia, great jurisdiction, and we've added in a great partner in Glencore. Sovereign Metals, who are listed on the ASX, they were the junior joint venture party here with Glencore. We've basically bought their position out, 3-stage payments. The first is acquisition on completion, that's 15 million shares or cash, year 1 and year 2 anniversary payments, and we expect they'll be made over the next couple of years. Historically, Carpentaria joint venture was formed in 2001, almost 20 years ago, between Normandy and Mount Isa Mines, which is now Glencore. Sovereign Metals listed with the Carpentaria joint venture as their main asset in 2007. They then have pivoted to move on to other geographies and commodity exposure, and this became non-core for them. The joint ventures had the better part of $14.5, $15 million spent on it. Glencore specifically were targeting more larger sulfide opportunities to help mill feed for their infrastructure in and around Queensland, specifically Isa and Ernest Henry. They're typically sort of 50 million tonne plus exploration targets. I think there's opportunity for us to probably come in, bring some new eyes and add some value. Our targeting probably won't be as big as that, but we think it's definitely an opportunity for us to sort of look for really good opportunities, probably closer to surface and not as significant in size, but very much more relevant for Renegade exploration. Very much leveraged to great jurisdiction, infrastructure around Kalkine and Isa. You get an idea there that the bulk of the permits here in the Carpentaria joint venture are within 20 to 40k radius of Kalkine, operating mines in the region, fantastic geology. So the tier 1 partner in Glencore, we've already had early discussion with them about the joint venture. We have a big data sort of gathering and interpretation exercise coming in the next few weeks. They're really excited to share the ideas with us and us likewise with them. And it's been really good so far. The next steps being completing the acquisition, which I foresee happening inside the current calendar quarter, accessing the full database for complete review, and then looking to potentially leverage our position to a greater part of the joint venture. And we're really excited to be working with Glencore in a fantastic sort of province and mining province in Queensland. I guess to sort of close off, in rationalising the portfolio, we took the view that our Yukon project, while a great opportunity in the zinc-lead market, required expertise and capital from a different part of the world that we couldn't really effectively execute. So we've got a great partner now with Scarf Holdings. They're Vancouver-based. The consideration is Australian $1.65 million. Stage payments, the first $250,000 has been received, and a commitment by Scarf to spend $500,000 Canadian by the end of this year. We've been working closely with them to share a lot of data over the last month or two, so they can start to target some drilling and some surface work campaign, and they're really excited to sort of get stuck into it. The tranche payments can be advanced at any time, and upon the final payment, we will have a right to an NSR subject to commercial production over the project. Scarf have the option to acquire that royalty from us for another $1 million. So we're really excited about Scarf, and so far they're putting a lot of energy and input into taking that project forward. Just sort of probably closing on probably a brief summary and sort of the action coming now for the next sort of 4 to 6 months. The airborne magnetic program was complete and interpreted in late December. Our mid-January field program was actually started a little bit early and has been completed early. So the targeting ground geophysics in February this year, early February. Again, 2 weeks to complete the program and a couple of weeks for interp. So hopefully we'll have a better idea of what's going on at Baxter, Andrews and Richards by the end of March. And then we do have an early indication of subject to drill availability to be drilling around March, April for nickel and gold in the Yandal East project. Our recent gravity survey will be incorporated into the review and our targeting process. And then we're also development of our advanced geophysical models allowing better defined targets. So we've grabbed a lot of the historical drilling that's been completed over the last 30 to 40 years over a number of different owners of the Yandal East project, adding in more modern, geophysics techniques, drone, and then and the ground EM to really help with define targeting and define our models and then get ready to go drilling again. Pretty excited to complete our Carpentaria joint venture acquisition. That should be done inside the next quarter, and then the data review and we'll engage with Glencore going forward. Just to close off, I guess, the capital structure, the thing I would highlight is, roughly $1 million cash by the end of December 2020, our market cap of around $8.6 million. We think that we're probably undervalued, as most juniors do, but considering the access to quality ground, gold, nickel, and copper exploration, and working with tier one joint venture partners like Glencore, there's probably room for a bit of movement. Sierra Whiskey, largest shareholder, is myself. I bought my first shares over 3 years ago. Have been an ongoing buyer, haven't sold any, and really excited about the opportunities of working in both WA and Queensland. I guess the only thing we've noticed is that, being a winner, being operating in WA and Queensland and lots of mining infrastructure, we haven't seen as much of a slowdown in, with the results of Corona and COVID and operating in both those states. Timing to get, access to drill rigs and operators and assays and so on is definitely taking longer, but we can definitely operate and get things done. So we're really excited about what 2021 is going to bring. So lots of news flow over the next sort of 2 to 6 months as we take both the projects forward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wallace, for such an interesting presentation on the company as it aims to emerge as a mid-tier resource company while delivering long-term value for its shareholders through the identifying, securing, and growing economic mineral deposits. We wish Renegade Exploration very best for its engagement in its exploration activities throughout the project. We will now move on to the question answer section. So what value does the recently acquired tenement at the Yandal East add to the existing potential of the project, Mr. Mark?
Sure. So in December, we added on a small sliver of exploration ground. We love the ground so much that a lot of the ground around us is being pegged either by Northern Star to our west, and then with their acquisition of Echo Resources to the south. So what we've noticed is that the opportunity to grab any ground there is low, and when we get the opportunity to do so, we would like to do that. The recent permit we added is actually on the greenstone and granite contact, and we've seen a lot of, that's where there's a lot of complexity in the geology there. Traditionally, that's actually provided great opportunity. So that was, I think it cost us $20,000 and a few million shares. We thought that was a really great opportunity cost of bulking up and adding to our ground. So I dare say if we didn't do it, someone else was. So and it made more sense for us, and we're really excited about that.
Next, we have RNX is in the process of transacting the Yukon project. What is RNX's further plan in relation to the acquisition of mineral deposits?
We take a pragmatic view, and I know that with the current interest in both, or it's actually in copper, nickel, and gold, it's getting more difficult to sort of find really good projects. Using our strategy of great jurisdictions, we're very firmly entrenched in Western Australia and Queensland. New projects from here have to be really adding more value for Renegade shareholders, of which I'm a significant shareholder, than what we already see with our Yandal East and our Carpentaria joint venture project. So I think the best use of our time and endeavours for all shareholders would be definitely how do we become a bigger part of the Carpentaria joint venture working with Glencore, and then bringing some of the targets, the nickel and the gold opportunities in the Yandal East forward to bear. So I think if any other opportunities we look at have to sort of fit in nicely with the opportunity cost of what we're doing currently, we see a lot more value in investing in our current ground than looking at new opportunities so far.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wallace, for answering this. We have another question over here. Now that an airborne magnetics program has been completed at Yandal East, where does RNX currently stand in terms of exploration progress at this project?
Okay, so that's the first part of a two-part strategy. So we've got a great high resolution now with that drone aeromagnetic survey. Adding in the ground EM specifically at Richards and at Baxter Andrews will really help define the depth extension to both of those opportunities. So that one's complete. The ground EM survey starts in the better part of 2 to 4 weeks' time, in conjunction with the drone supported aeromag, will really help define the targets. The next stage after that will be drilling.
Thank you. I hope that was quite informative. Thank you so much, Mr. Wallace, for addressing the audience. Audience, we hope this question answer session was insightful. You can even write to us at info@kalkinemedia.com in case you have any specific questions. Mr. Mark, over to you.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Look, again, going last can be quite difficult in these presentations, and following up on 2 great companies as well. It's interesting to hear from Peter and what they're presenting there. And Matador's a large, bigger brother, I guess, for us in the resource sector, and they're doing a fantastic job in Canada. So it's no mean feat. So it's really exciting times. But I think, for your investors, I think there's 3 great opportunities here for some with different risk profiles and different opportunities. And look, Renegade's going to have lots of news flow over the next sort of 2 to 6 weeks, and then on to mid-year. So we're really excited to be sort of getting into 2021 and look forward to delivering some strong news flow. So again, thanks for the opportunity, and look forward to staying in touch with our investors.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace, once again.